This has been a successful markup in several ways. One, and Senator Casey, you seem to be the big winner here today in terms of number of bills that have been marked up, and Senator Collins as well, Senator Burr. But we've marked up 7 more bills incorporating about 15 bipartisan ideas, and that gives us a substantial start to what I would call a companion bill to the 21st century legislation passed last year by the House of Representatives. I hear very clearly what Senator Baldwin is saying about to have some coherence to a bill. We need to have a whole. But the Senate, the congressional process is probably wiser than people think sometimes, because we have our chance for the committee to study and then approve. Then we have a chance to go to the floor and amend. Then we have a chance to go to conference and rewrite the bill, in effect, to put it all together with whatever the House has done. And in the process, the President usually weighs in and says what he thinks. So I think we have plenty of opportunities to focus on making sure we have a consistent whole here. We've heard from Senator Warren and Senator Murray, 2 priorities that they have, which I think are shared by several members on both sides of the aisle. On the only comment I would make on the so-called mandatory funding, I always think it's better to focus first on your goal and then on how to pay for it. And the reason we have a problem, and Senator Casey expressed this, being here 9 years, and we all want to increase funding for NIH, but we never do it, is because we don't have the money. The President ran into that this year making up his budget and actually reduced, of all things, the amount of funding for the National Institutes of Health by $1 billion, proposing that we make it up somehow by 1.8 of so-called mandatory funding. I think we're going to have to sit down and do what Senator Murray has suggested. We're going to have to work our way through what we want to do, how much we want to spend on a surge in funding for the National Institutes of Health, and how to pay for it. And we all know that that won't succeed unless we have a bipartisan consensus on how to do it. We'll just have to do that. And I think we all know that we'll not be able to support the President's precision medicine initiative or the cancer moonshot or the mandatory funding unless we have a consensus here. And I don't think any of us wants that result. We've done too much work in too important an area to do it. So I was delighted this committee produced what I think was the most important piece of legislation last year, especially in terms of how many people it affected, 50 million children. I think we can produce the most important bill of the Congress this year, because our work on this bill will affect virtually every American. And I look forward to doing it promptly so we can hand to Senator McConnell a conclusion on the innovation bill and on the surge of funding for NIH through mandatory funding in a bipartisan way so that he can put it on the floor. We have a limited number of days this year that are available. We're going to start appropriations on April 15th, I understand, and stay on them for 12 weeks. There seems to be a bipartisan consensus on that. So I want to finish our work promptly, and I'll be working with Senator Murray and other members of the committee to do that. I ask consent that in preparing all of these measures for reporting, the staff be authorized to make any required technical and conforming changes, and without objection so ordered. We have scheduled a markup for April 6th, at which we'll consider the remaining issues that we have to consider on our innovation legislation. There are probably 20 different bipartisan ideas, and I'm sure we'll hear some lively debate on some of them, which is welcome. The hearing record will remain open for 10 days. Members may submit additional information for the record within that time if they would like. Thank you for being here. The committee